All right, we're good to go. Welcome back to another live stream. This is going to be UFC 262 post weigh-ins and DraftKings plays more in depth. Going to be a shorter live than the 2 hour 24 minutes. Yesterday, if you guys are interested in any of the fights, we have about 12-minute breakdown around each one, like 8 to 12 minutes on each one. So check that out yesterday's live. But yeah, I'm once again joined by Gordo. How are you doing, my man?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing pretty good. Pretty eventful day. Happy to have those ceremonial weigh-ins back. Those were,
Yeah, that was awesome.
especially that last one. That was fire, man.
Oh man, that fight's gonna be amazing. The whole main card I love the whole main card. All right, so we'll get into the post wins. So the first fight, Christos Giagos taking on Sean Soriano. So Giagos, he looked pretty good to me. He looked in shape, ready to go. Give a nice smile, looked business. Soriano he looked pretty decent as well in my opinion. He made weight, gave a good flex as well. The stare down, the face off was like pretty normal, what you like to see. I didn't really get too much from that win. I do think Giagos wins this fight, but at the price tag, it's just way too wide for me. What did you get from the weigh-ins?
I just think that the longer this fight goes, the more it favors Soriano. We know Giagos' style. He's going to wear in third round, and he's going to show it. And whereas the weigh-ins didn't show us that much, I still got the same opinion on it. I think it's Giagos early or Soriano late. Maybe Giagos catches a sub when Soriano gets up, gives him his back, but I think it's going to be Giagos lays on top for the first few rounds, maybe gets dicey in the third kind of thing. So nothing really to see at the weigh-ins, but that's what I got.
Agreed. All right, so next fight we got Kevin Aguilar taking on Tucker Lutz. So Kevin Aguilar, he looked pretty decent on the scales to me. He made weight. He made exactly 145. Looked ready to go. Good flex. Lutz did look a little bit drained. I know you think that as well. He did give a decent flex though, but he did look a little not like he usually does. I agree with you on that front. Face-offs, really just a normal face-off, so nothing much from there. To me, this is a complete 50-50 fight. I went back and watched the tape after yesterday's stream, and I'm actually going to flip. I'm going to join you on Aguilar. I'm not going to bet it, but I'm going to go Aguilar on this one as well now. I'm going to switch over.
Yeah, I took my shot on Aguilar plus money. He's faced better competition, and seeing Lutz on the scale is exactly what I needed to pull the trigger. He didn't look good at all. Not like he looked horrible, but he just doesn't look like he was ready. He looked a bit nervous. He had that water right by his side, ready to go, ready to refuel. And he didn't look that much bigger than Aguilar. I know Aguilar's not the biggest guy, but if you're wrestling like Lutz likes to do in these fights and lay on top of people, I don't think he's going to be able to do that against Aguilar. So I'm taking my shot. Aguilar, I think, has got all the skills to win this fight, and it's just up to him to pull it off. Hopefully he's not as gun-shy as in that Rosa fight, but I think his fight to lose, and I'm happy to roll with it. One unit on him at plus 100.
I don't hate it, man. I don't hate it. I think it's going to be a close fight, and if you get a read on him from the scales, then I think it's a good spot. All right, so we'll move on. Gina Mazzani versus Priscilla Cachoeira, and man, both from the weigh-ins and the face-offs, man, I'm kind of excited for this fight. You know, they both look ready to go. You know, Mazzani has actually she's jacked, man. Good flex, good smile, looks in great shape. And Cachoeira, man, she looked ready to go as well. She did need the box to weigh in, but you know, she made it after. She gave a big smile. She was super excited. You know, I think she kissed Dana White on the forehead, man. Like she was ready to go, super amped up. So hoping she gets the knockout in this fight personally, as I have that quarter unit shot on him. But I'm kind of a little bit excited for this fight based on the weigh-ins. But if Mazzani does the smart thing and just grapples her the whole time, then it could turn pretty boring. But that's what she should do if she wants to get the win here. What about you?
Yeah, a lot of people needed that box today. I think it was like record amount of times I've seen it brought out. It was wild. Anyways, Priscilla showed up, blue streak in her hair, looking fired up, and I love that from under. I got the under 2.5, huge plus money at plus 175. And I think both these women have a path to victory here really easily. I think Priscilla just got to pressure, land some volume. You know, Gina doesn't like to take it. And Mazzani just got to wrestle her. She's got the insane advantage on the ground here, and I think she can win it pretty dominantly if she does get that top position. But she might have to absorb a few blows, and I don't know if she's gonna be able to do that. So either way, I like my spot, both sides, and I hope it's a good fight.
Yeah, I agree, man. They both just look really pumped up, ready to go, and we'll see how it goes.
Still don't know if she's worthy of the most expensive person on the DraftKings side, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean,
definitely be low owned.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so moving on to the next fight, we got Andrea Lee versus Antonina Shevchenko. Shevchenko made weight exactly. Looked, good flex. I mean, she looked like she pretty much always does to me personally. She was just like kind of chill, laid back. And Andrea Lee, again, she was another one that needed the box. She looks like she's in really good shape. She gave a good flex. To me, she kind of looked a little bit off to me. I know she gave a good smile on like the ceremonial weigh-ins, but like when she was weighing in, she kind of just seemed a little bit like, I don't really know what the word for it is, but to me, she didn't look like, I think Antonina looked better personally from my perspective. But again, I'm staying off this fight. I think it's a really close competitive fight. I am going to edge Lee. I was really considering Lee by decision. But I just don't, I'm just going to stay off this fight. Lee's burned me too many times, and she could easily lose this fight. So yeah, from the weigh-ins, the face-off, really standard face-off, just kept their distance, stared down, shook hands, left the stage. So nothing much from that fight either, from my perspective.
No, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. Solid. So moving on, Jamie Pickett taking on Jordan Wright. So Jamie Pickett, Pickett, he looked to be in pretty good shape, good flex. He looked business as usual. He looked ready to go. Jordan Wright, similar. He made 185 exactly. Got like the nice little low stance for the face off. But I think this fight, nothing really changes for me from the weigh-ins personally. I think this is a good violent spot here with the under 2.5. I think someone's going to get finished here. And until Jordan Wright makes it past the 548 mark, I gotta think this fight finishes. I'm gonna say it finishes somewhere around mid-second round range. But it's a close fight. If Wright could get the sub, Wright could get the knockout, Pickett could get the knockout. I'm gonna go Jamie Pickett by knockout, but don't hate anybody on Jordan Wright to win the fight. But I don't really see like a strong lean either way in terms of where I would bet, and the weigh-ins and face-offs doesn't change much for me.
I think Pickett looked pretty fired up, man. And I know he didn't throw much against Tafon. Maybe that's why the line is so close. But he has a pretty nice path to victory here. You just got to swarm Jordan Wright the way Jordan Buckley did, right? Like we know that Wright doesn't have the best record fighting a guy 0-21 in there. Like he's got a really padded record, and he doesn't take damage very well. His chin's pretty weak. So if Pickett's got that fire in him, if he swarms him like he did in the Contender Series, I think he can pick up this win by knockout. I'm on the under 2.5 with you, and this is a great spot I like in my DFS today. A fight is going to finish. I'm taking both sides. 8.1. Love it.
Yeah, I think we get a finisher for on Lando Venata, and I'll let you open up this one. What'd you think of the weigh-ins and the face-off?
See, at first, I thought Lando looked completely different. I think he looked drained, but then I realized he was coming down 10 pounds. Maybe that's going to explain some of it. I'm still on the Mike Grundy side. I don't think that Venata's going to handle him too well on the ground, especially coming down a weight class. Like, I expected Lando to be much bigger. He was a tad bigger, but not as big as I thought. So I know Grundy has a path to victory. I hope he follows it, and I hope he gets him out there early, because you never know how someone's going to be at a new weight division. He could be stronger, could have better cardio, or it could hurt him, right? So I'm on Grundy here. Again, like him in DraftKings with that control time, with that top control, with that those takedown stuff. So I'm excited to see Venata at this division. Don't know how well it's going to fare out for him, though.
Yeah, I think the face-off is awesome. Both guys, got close. We're ready to go. Good face-off. Both guys are ready to go. I just think that's going to be a really good fight. Personally, I'm really excited for this one. Grundy did also need the box, but he looked in great shape. He's jacked. He looked ready to go. Gave a big flex, and yeah, he's definitely jacked. I thought Lando looked all right, right? Like, I can see where you're coming from and saying he looked a bit drained, but again, he is coming down to 145 for the first time. He still looked in pretty good shape. He still looked ready to go. He was amped up. So to me, I think he looked fine. Again, this is a fight where I'm split down the middle. I'm gonna edge Lando in the fight. Get a nice little head-to-head action here, but no strong read. I'm hoping Grundy hits for you. But yeah, nothing really changes my opinions. The face-off just really gets me excited for the fight. Doesn't really change my opinion on how I see the fight. Whoever gets off their game plan better is going to be the one getting their hand raised on Saturday. So should be a good one, and I'm super pumped up for it. And now to our featured prelim fight. So we got Jacare Souza taking on Andre Muniz. Andre Muniz on the scales, he looks solid business. To me, um, he looked like he was ready to go. And then in the face-offs, he was like pumped up in the ceremonial weigh-ins. He was like getting into it. And for Jacare, I thought Jacare looked pretty good too. He didn't, he looked to still be in good shape. The face-off was very, very respectful, very, calm, relaxed. And, I'm still on Jacare, obviously, with a small shot. And I also added a play. I actually took the fight doesn't go to decision at -120. I think Souza's definitely live to get him out of there with a knockout, especially if Muniz tries to close the distance and throw his big shots. I think Souza's a great counterpuncher, can definitely knock him out. Like, he's knocked out better guys than Muniz, better chins than Muniz, and I think Muniz could be live to finish inside the distance. If he gets a sub, I don't really know if he can, but if he does, he could also knock out Jacare if that chin shot. So yeah, I think there's value on the doesn't go to decision. Obviously, there is that path where it could go to decision, where it's just a low volume affair. Like, if both guys don't even want to engage the ground, and then we're just on the feet, and it's a low volume type thing, that could very well happen. But I do think there will be a finish in this fight. I think the guys will try to engage. So that's all I really added from that fight. But I didn't really get too much from the weigh-ins. What about you?
Yeah, it wasn't what I wanted to see. I would love to see, for my play at least, I have a play I'm using inside the distance. I would love to see Souza trained out there. But no, he looked good. I still think that his chin's not where it used to be, and that's why I only got a half unit play. I think that if Souza's fully there, he definitely wins the fight. But you never know with someone who's 41 years old. So no, I couldn't get much from the weigh-ins, but I'm hoping for a good fight. I hope it's not boring, like you say. I think there'll be some ground exchanges, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think so too. I just think there is the possibility we have to consider that it is a low volume affair. But I think 60% implied that this fight finishes is not too far off, at least from my opinion. I do think there's a little bit of value there, and I actually parlayed it with Andrea Lee and Shevchenko fight goes to decision just to get extra juice on it, because I think the Lee fight hits 80% of the time. So as long as that fight hits, again, parlaying them together is a win-win for me. I kind of like the style. Because it's either I lose less or I win more from where I would size them. I know maybe if you put them you risk the same, that it doesn't really add value, but from the way I would bet it, from the two separate angles, it definitely adds value from my perspective. So it's just a small 3/4 unit shot there. I think this fight finishes. I think it's live to finish. I think it should be a bit wider. Jacare, and an important point to make is, so Muniz has only 3 wins by decision, right? And Jacare hasn't won a decision since 2014, and his last decision before 2014 was 2010, right? So he is picking up finishes. He hasn't won a decision in 6 years. And again, I think Jacare wins this fight. I think he's got him covered everywhere. So I'm gonna go. Jacare's finished much tougher guys than Muniz, so I think he can definitely get him out of there. And yeah, I kind of like that spot, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, nothing from the weigh-ins or the face-offs from us. All right, so we will now move on to the main card, and what a main card it is! Honestly, one of the best main cards in a while, in my opinion. I just think each one of these fights has potential to be. I think at least 4 of these fights are going to be. I think at least 4 are going to be incredible, and I think the Chookagian and an Araujo fight is also going to be good, very technical. But we'll start with Shane Burgos and Edson Barboza. So Shane Burgos, man, he looked great. He looked really good. Made weight. Was really pumped up, gave us a little scream. He looked solid as usual. And Edson did, he needed the box. He looked a little bit surprised when they needed the box, because it kind of looked like he made weight backstage. And then when he came out, he didn't. So he looked a bit confused. So maybe something was off with the scale or something like that. But Edson did look a little bit drained. He gave a little smirk, he kind of was just he didn't really look fully there. At all, really. But he's so shredded, man. I don't know how that guy makes 45. He is shredded, to everywhere. He's jacked, and it really makes me want to play Burgos, man, because Barboza didn't look amazing at the weigh-ins. But the only thing that's keeping me off is just of how hittable Burgos is. He's just so hittable, and I know Emmett couldn't finish him, but I just don't like when a guy is that hittable. But Burgos should get this done. and just being in his face. But yeah, that's my thoughts from the weigh-ins. And from the face-off point of view, I think the face-off was solid. Both guys ready to go, and yeah. What you thinking about this one?
Yeah, I'm with you. I have no idea how Edson makes 145, man. That guy is built. But in the same thing, like what I took the most from the weigh-ins and actually the face-off was that Shane Burgos walked him down to the face-off himself, and that's what he's got to do tomorrow. He's got to get in his face, eliminate that range from him, and instead of playing Burgos straight in a bet, I'm actually playing a lot of him. He's going to be in my favorite lineup for tomorrow. I know anyone who messaged me on Twitter asked me for a lineup, it's going to have Shane Burgos in it because I think he throws a ton of volume, and we know Edson slows down round 3, so I don't know. I'm hoping for a plus 100 points for him, and I think he can get it done pretty easily.
Yeah, I agree, man. I really want to play him, but it's tough. It's because I don't think Barboza looked great at the weigh-off, so I might add that tomorrow. I'm going to keep looking into it. I don't want to force anything, but Burgos, he looks ready to go, man. He looks super pumped up, and Barboza didn't look the greatest. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say for that fight. So moving on, we got the second fight on the main card. We got Katlyn Chookagian taking on Viviane Araujo. So Katlyn Chookagian also needed the box as well. It was funny because when she first called for the box and she was like looking to her corner, she kind of looked like she wanted to cry. Like if you guys want to go watch that back, like she looked like, I thought she was about to break down into tears. Like it was weird. But then once she made the weight, she gave a big smile, big flex, looked decent at the weigh-ins. I thought in shape she looked like she normally does. But Viviane Araujo, I know we were talking about this before. She looked really good. She looked strong, built, ready to go. The face-off was really intense. They got in each other's face. I'm really excited for this fight. I think it's going to be really, really good. I still am going to lean Katlyn just because Viviane's never beaten an actual striker before, and I'm not going to pick her until she proves. Do I think she has the tools to win this fight? Absolutely. But I'm going to lean on the vet, Katlyn Chookagian here to get the win. But yeah, what you thinking?
Another fight. Oh, my bad. Another fight where I'm completely just staying away from it. Like it could go so many ways. Big X through it. Maybe Chookagian's fired up after getting hacked today. You never know. She's a bit mad about that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just stay that way. She did need the box, but I think they look completely fine. Vivi was pretty jacked, but I think this is Chookagian's fight if she wants it. She has the tool. She's beaten much better fighters than Vivi. It's a big step down. So I'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward for a high-volume affair, but I don't think it finishes. I think Chookagian edges a decision, but you never know.
Agreed. All right, so now we got Matt Schnell versus Rogerio Bontorin here. And first off, I don't know, like, Bontorin, big question marks from that weigh-in. One, I don't think he looked very good. I know you don't think he looks very good either. But just I'm shocked that he's missing weight when he's a normal 25er and he's not even making 35. Not to mention he had an hour to make the weight and chose not to make the weight. I'm a little confused by that as to why he didn't, try to make the weight. He had an hour instead of just forfeiting 20% of his purse. So I think personally I think Bontorin's going to go for broke, man. I think maybe he could have potentially had a bad weight cut. He didn't look that good. I think maybe he knows he's got to get him out of there early. He might put on a pace. And we know that when guys put on a pace on Schnell, like Schnell's we've seen him get into firefights. We've seen that his chin isn't there. I think both guys are live to finish in any possible way. And I really, really like the under here. And the fight doesn't go to decision. I think this fight finishes. They've both got the tools to get the finish. And Bontorin did not look that great, so I would not be surprised by Schnell inside the distance or Bontorin just like going out there, winging his big power shots, going for a takedown, trying to get a sub or getting sub, just a bunch of different ways to finish this fight. I think both guys have limitless paths to get the finish in this fight, and I'm loving the under here.
Yeah, man, I have no idea why Bontorin's here in the first place. Like 2 months ago, he was brutally knocked out, Kaikara France, and he comes in here and he looked awful. And not only did he look awful at the first weigh-ins, but the ceremonial weigh-ins too. He did not want to be there, in my opinion. And you have a fight where I was already huge on the under beforehand. I think they both have great paths to victory. We saw Bontorin gas out on his Kaikara France fight, and they both have very weak chins, in my opinion. We don't know how Schnell's chin is right now. He pushed a slower pace in his last fight. But I think they both have tools to get it done. We know Bontorin's great on the ground. We know Snell's pretty good on the ground too. So it just depends that it. Not only that, but if you look at how bad Bontorin looked, you said it yourself. Maybe he wants to push that pace early. Maybe he wants to just go all for broke at the start, and that is great for my under. I love it in an under spot. I love Matt Snell in a DraftKings perspective as well. 8.9K. I think he has a lot of upside here, and actually, I think Matt Snell gets an early finish. Like I just don't like what I'm seeing from Bontorin. I know he has a weak chin coming off to 2-month layoff. It isn't great either. So, yeah, I almost played Matt Snell outside the distance. Instead, I'm going to take him a lot in DraftKings, and we'll see how that goes.
Also, the height difference is also very visible, too. Schnell's much taller than he is. Like, I know it's 5'8" to 5'5", but he looked much taller. But, yeah, got a comment here. Chuk minus 130 is gold. Man, it's tough because I think the line is about where it is, because I just think if Viviani is the real deal, I think she can win this fight. I personally, I'm with you, man. I think Chuk, pieces her up from distance. Vivi is hittable, and Vivi does definitely start to slow down, which is a big thing. She does have the wrestling. She could take the fight to the ground, but I think Chuk is, great off. I think she's got good jiu-jitsu. She's a brown belt. I think she can get back up to her feet for sure. And, I do favor Chuk in this spot, but, Viviani she's tough, man. Like, she's super powerful, super quick, good leg kicks. And yeah, I really just lean Chuk because I've seen what she can do. She's a former title challenger, so she's super duper good. We know this, and Vivi hasn't beaten a real striker yet. So if you want to take Chuk minus 130, I don't hate the play, man. I don't hate it at all.
No, I like Chuk here, but another thing I got to look at too is we know what happened to the judges last time we were in Houston, and fight like this where it's going to be close, and I think Vivi is going to land the more impactful punches in this. Caitlin doesn't have that much power. It could sway the judges, and I think Chuk gets it done, but it's not one where I'd like to be clenching that ticket going to the judges where it could be just an awful decision, right? But no, I think it's a great spot. I don't hate it, but not personally one I'm going to take.
Yeah, exactly. And just a little bit adding on to that point, especially if you're going to a split decision, which is very high likelihood that this could go to, you don't want your hands on the negative ticket. You want your hands on the plus money ticket. So that's another reason I'm staying off the Chuk money line. But Chuk by decision, I think it's like plus 100 or something like that. I don't hate that at all. All right, so we'll get on to the co-main event now. We got Tony El Kakui Ferguson taking on Beneil Dariush, and Benny, he missed weight with the box, then had to go out and spent the time trying to make back the weight, and then he did make weight. We saw that Benny did miss weight against Holtzman, I think, a couple fights ago as well. So Benny did look. I don't think he looked bad. I don't think he looked great, but I don't think he looked bad. From the Tony side, I think Tony looked really good, ready to go. Good face-off, respectful face-off. And I'm super amped for this fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. But yeah, nothing really too much changes my opinion from this. I think where the line is now, the value is more so on Tony than Benny. But if you got in with Benny minus 150 or better, I don't hate the play. It's just because he has that minus 233 plus path to victory with the wrestling. We saw what Oliveira did to him. And, Beneil Dariush, we saw him completely control CDF, and CDF is someone who we know is super good off of his back, super good reversals, never makes it, never just going to lie there. And we know, from the Charles Oliveira fight, Tony, it's not like he just stood there. He just got, just laid there. He tried to get up, but he just got controlled. And I think Benny can do the same thing to him there. The only concern I have about this fight in betting Benny is if he doesn't use that wrestling. Because if it stays on the feet, I think it'll be a little bit. I think Benny has the advantage still. But if Benny gets into a firefight, because Tony brings that stuff out in guys, man, he's a wild man, and Benny has said that he's going to match Tony's wildness, and I think that's really bad if he actually does do that, because his chin has been a question mark, and if he gets into a firefight, he could definitely be the one getting finished. So that's the only thing that's keeping me off Benny, but I think Benny's a solid spot here for sure, or Benny by decision as well.
I got my ticket on Benny early. I beat the line movement. I'm pretty happy with it, but I hate betting against Tony because you never know what he's going to bring out in someone. And we've seen Dariush been finished before, and we don't know where his chin's at. And by the same time, we don't know where Tony's at either. He's not the same fighter he used to be. And I really like my chances with Dariush here. He's got the tools, he's got the path to victory, and if he gets him down to the ground, I'm sure he's going to look a lot wider than minus 170.
For sure. Agreed. Agreed. All right, we'll close out the card post-win here with Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler. And man, this fight is awesome. They were nose to nose, an intense weigh-in. Both guys are fired up, got in each other's face, super amped up, ready to meet in the center, ready to throw down. And I could not be more excited for this fight. I think Oliveira looks solid. First one on the scales, made championship weight look great. Chandler, second one on the scales. He's looking jacked. He's looking ready to go as well. And I'm loving my spot on the under 2.5 here. I think it's my most confident play on the card. I wish I went more on it because I just don't see how this fight goes over 12.5 minutes, man. I definitely think this fight finishes within the first 2 rounds. Chandler's got 10 knockouts, all of which have come in the first 2 rounds. Oliveira's never seen a 4th round. Obviously, he's never been in a 5-round fight, but this is a guy who's finished 34 out of his 38 wins, and he's just finisher. The finish or be finished. Both guys have durability problems. Both guys are ready to go. Both guys want this so badly, and this is a definite violent spot. It's going to be a great fight while it lasts. I am super amped for this fight. The face-offs made it even better, and man, I'm just so excited for tomorrow night, man.
I think the biggest thing to take is Michael Chandler is 7.5K on DraftKings.
Yeah,
and for me, I think this fight finishes no matter what. And I do certainly see Oliveira winning this fight, but at that price tag, I think it's definitely close. I think it's like a 50-50 fight. I might even edge Chandler with the early pressure, but 7.5K on DraftKings for someone with 100+ upside is something that I love to see. I think it finishes as well. I see it finishing on both sides, so I'm going to have equal value for both, but equal ownership. But I really like Michael Chandler in the spot too. He's got the tools he needs. He's great on top. He's got great control. And no, I'm super hyped up for it too. They were crazy at the ceremonial face-offs, and no, they got me excited for sure. Can't wait.
Yeah, some comments here. Chugoso is close to Shelby to the title. Yeah, if she loses this fight, it's probably she's
fired up.
Probably not going to be ready, at least that late in her career. Agreed. Tony's line is a must bet strictly from the price. Massive overreaction to small sample size. Now, I see that. I see where you're coming from for sure, right? At plus 150, I don't hate Tony Ferguson, right? Because 40% indication, maybe that is a bit too disrespectful to Tony. But yes, it is definitely. I do think it is recency bias, but I think in this case the recency bias is 100% justified because yes, Tony's fighting these killers, but it's not just that he's losing these fights. He's getting dominated, right? Like Gaethje, you have to understand, that fight, that takes a lot out of a person. It just does. The amount of significant strikes he was absorbing, that. That's just not one fight. That's like 5 fights accumulation basically in that one fight from how much damage he took in that fight. And yes, those are 2 of the best lightweights in the world, but Beneil is up there, man. Beneil is not it's not like Tony's taking a massive step down in competition. He's taking a step down, but Beneil's no easy walk. And if Beneil gets that wrestling in there, this line's gonna look minus 233 or more. It just is because I think Beneil is super duper good on the ground. Tony. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If this fight stays on the feet, I think it can be a little bit closer. I think the line is a bit too wide. I think Beneil should be favored. I think he's a good striker. I think he might be the better striker than Tony apart from volume. But if he gets pushed into a firefight with Tony's unorthodox style, Tony could definitely win the fight. But I just think if he uses that wrestling, which I think he will, I think he'll come in with a good game plan. I think he dominates this fight. I think he controls Tony on the mat and he looks like a big favorite, but I agree with you in the fact that Tony's line is a bit wide, a lot of recency bias. But yeah, man, you're saying no tape needed. You got to go watch that Gaethje fight. That was brutal. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. And I agree. I agreed in a sense.
Let's get some DFS.
Let's get some DFS going now. Yeah, so I'll just open. I am new to the DFS game, so if you're going to take any advice, take it from my boy Gordo over here, not me, learning the game, entering my first free contest this weekend. But, I'll try to chime in and learn as we go. But, yeah, if you want to tail any of these, definitely don't listen to me yet. But yeah, I'll let you open up.
I've been doing this for a couple of years now, or almost a couple of years, a long time, and I've never had such an easy time finding value in this fight. There are so many mid to low range fighters that have a great chance to finish and win this fight and score really, really big. And it's one of these fights where I can have multiple lineups and be confident leaving like 800 to 1.5K salary out the window, right? So I think when we look at core plays, we got to target the 3 big fights that are going to finish, right? Which in my eyes are the main event, Oliveira Chandler, right? We have the Snell Bontarine fight, which is going to finish as well, in my opinion. And then we have the 8.1K Pickett versus Wright. And both those guys priced the exact same. And I think they both have an equal chance to finish. And I think they're both going to score high if they get to finish. Now, if you do enter multiple competitions like me, you're able to throw in the exact same lineup with the alteration of just switching Wright for Pickett or Pickett for Wright, since they are the same price tag, right? Anyways, when we go to core plays, those are my 3 main fights I like to target. I love Shane Burgos in this spot as well. 8.4K. He throws so much volume, over 7 strikes per minute. I like him to get in there as well. I think he's going to get in Barbosa's face. Maybe even give him a finish round 3 when he slows down, but Burgos would definitely be in my my favorite line for the night. I do also like Beneil Dariush. I know it's a riskier play with how wild Ferguson is, but if he does get those takedowns in that ground control, he's live for a lot of points, right? So I like him as well. I think where the value lies is in 7.5K in Michael Chandler, right? Like that's just insane. So my favorite lineup currently is a combination of Chandler, Burgos, Dariush, Snell, Pickett, and then anyone else of your choice. I don't mind Souza there. I don't mind Grundy there. I don't mind, like, there's just so much value on this. But those are my main 5. I like to build lineups around those 5. I also see a point for a great punt play in Cachoeira. You know she can get that finish. We know Mazzani doesn't like taking damage, so she's live. Great punt play, but I don't know if she's going to be one of my core plays. Same thing with Bontarine. If he gets a finish, it's probably going to be early. So he's live for a high score as well. But no, I think you stick with those fights we're going to finish. I wouldn't really touch the Chukagi and Arujo fight. I wouldn't really touch the Lee Savchenko fight. I wouldn't really even touch the Giago Soriano fight either. So a lot of fights to choose from. And yeah, what do you think? What fights are you looking forward to that might get finished?
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. In the main event, I'm definitely gonna have those guys in my lineups for sure. Chandler 7,500, I really like that a bunch. Like that was the first thing that stuck out at me. Like when I was looking through these salaries and just seeing Chandler 7,500 is an absolute steal, man. I think he's definitely gonna finish the fight if he wins the fight. I think that fight in general will definitely finish. So I definitely like the main event, both guys. I agree with Dariush. I think Dariush is definitely live to score a bunch of points. 8,600, not bad. And if he does stick to the game plan, comes out with a good game plan, I think he has a lot of success. I agree with you. Caitlin and Viviani. I don't really think I'm going to go too much on that fight as well. Burgos for sure is definitely going to be played. I think he's like my main guy to play that I originally thought of just because of the volume that he throws, and he's definitely alive for a late finish as well. Barboza is not as enticing just because he doesn't throw as much volume anymore. So I'm probably not thinking of having too much of him. Pickett and Wright again, yeah, same price tag. Probably like split it down the middle, maybe like edge it to Pickett for me personally, just because I think he probably wins more. Grundy, if he sticks to the game plan, gets a bunch of control time, I think he definitely could score pretty well on this fight. Schnell at 8,900, I think is decent, but the only thing that concerns me about him is like if he just like sticks to like an outside style and just like lands like the jab and stuff like that. He does throw good volume, but like how does that usually score? Like if he was to like stick to the outside and just kind of fight like he did against Nam.
Click on the Matt Schnell's name there, and up top 8.9.
So we got 64.
Yeah, his last fight he scored 64 points. So that's not great, but I think that no matter what, Bontarin's going to engage. He's going to force the pressure. I think that no matter what, there's going to be at least 90 points in this fight. Like takedowns, I think there's going to be a finish, maybe even knockdowns with the way that Bontarin's chin is looking. And we know Bontarin gasses out too. So I don't know. I like Snell there. Here, build a lineup with me for visual. If you throw in Snell,
sure.
Dariush,
Snell, Dariush, Burgos,
Burgos.
Chandler,
And then let's go
Pickett.
Pickett. Yeah.
And one more. I probably
You
hear.
have all these options to choose from. You can take Souza. You can take Aguilar. I wouldn't take Lutz in this case. Grundy has a great path to victory.
Yeah.
If you're on the Venata side, he's going to score big as well.
Yeah, I'd probably go Lando. So like that.
Yep. There you
So
go. And you have $500.
Yeah.
Yep.
I see.
And now, say you were on the Oliveira side. If you replace, so get rid of Venata, get rid of Chandler.
Get rid of
throw in
Chandler.
Oliveira.
Get rid of Oliveira. And then get rid of
Venata.
I put Grundy.
You can still get.
So I'm 900. Too much at this point.
No, you can still get someone like. I think that Cachoeira is very live. You can throw a lineup with Cachoeira and Oliveira in there as well. There's just so many options for value. You could build one all around that 8,000 mark, and I think there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, definitely. If I'm looking into it a bunch, and I see that this is definitely a good card from that standpoint, just because of how even the lines are and stuff like that. Like, there's just like not a lot of people. There's just not a lot of big favorites on this card, and Gino Mazzani is the biggest favorite on this card. So, it should be a competitive card. Lots of fights that could go either way. And yeah, just super pumped for the main card. Honestly, super pumped.
Yeah, I think that Mazzani is going to be super low owned. If you guys want to go big, I think she's even live for a finish here. And even if she does, she's going to get that control time if she sticks to her game plan. She can get those takedowns. So she's going to score pretty well. But there's just so many options here. There's so many ways you can see it. Only fights I'm really staying away from are the Shevchenko-Lee and Chukagian and Rujo fights. I think every other fight has a chance could finish and chance for really high scores here. So my Twitter's in the bio as well. If you guys want to send me DMs, I'll answer you with lineups that I personally will be playing myself. Just remember when you're playing this, you want finishes. You want people with high upside as well. Earlier the finish, the better. And I know it's lots of fun to play this every week. Maybe we'll even do a competition in the future, give some money back. So, yeah, give me a follow on Twitter, send me a DM, and I'll let you know what I think.
Yeah, man, I agree. Hit him up. He's been killing the game. Does lots of sports, not even just MMA. So definitely hit up the Twitter. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this this stream, guys. I think tomorrow we might do a kind of looking at the card from a prop point of view. Another shortish, maybe 30-minute video, just looking at the props, seeing where there's some decent value. If you guys are into props, probably before the card, sometime midday, I'll tweet it out for sure. For this week, but yeah, that's pretty much the post weigh-in show. Super excited for the card. If you guys want to see my bets again, they're right here. These are the plays that I have. I remember with these parlays that I have, these are really the main bets I'm targeting is the right Pickett under and the Muniz Souza doesn't go to decision, and I'm just playing them with fights that I'm really confident in, 80% plus, just to up the value, to risk less, win more. If they because when you think about it, guys, like if this fight hits, right? If this fight goes under 4.5 rounds, then this fight right here, right? This fight right here, I would have it's at minus 163. So I would have had to put 1.63 units to win 1 unit, right? But here I'm only having to put 1 unit to win 1.1 units. And yes, obviously I know parlays technically don't add value, but this is just a situation where I'd rather play it with something that I'm really confident to hit 80% of the time. Probably even more now after seeing the face-offs, just because I think it adds value to this one. Because if this fight hits, again, this fight I'll lose less or win more from where I would size it if I wasn't to put it with. I know it's a little bit confusing, so if you guys have any questions, you can send me a DM on Twitter if you guys want. But yeah, I'll get more. I'm definitely going to stick to this style for future, so it'll come out a lot more, and hopefully it starts to make a bit more sense to everybody. But yeah, again, that's going to be it. Thanks for coming on, talking post weigh-ins, DraftKings, and should be a good card. And yeah, anything left for you to say?
Thanks for having me on. Make sure to leave a like for this guy right here. He does a great job analyzing the fight. So yeah, we'll be back next week, and I hope there's a great card tomorrow. Can't wait.
Yep. All right. That's it from us, guys. Have a good rest of your day or night or whenever you're watching this, and peace.